Haaaaas win over Man City at the Club World Cup has ushered in a new era of football. That's according to FIFA President Gianni Infantino, but Simon Jordan says it's no surprise to see him sucking up to the Saudis.
He knows there's an enormous amount of investment in sport. He knows that the Saudi Pro League is enormously invested in by the Saudi state. He knows that DAZN are a broadcast that have been in part bought by Saudi. He knows that some of the money behind this tournament is Saudi money. So he's cozying up to the money in the same way he cozies up to Trump.
Well, despite being dumped out of the competition, Pep Guardiola seems upbeat about his side's performances in the US. But Manchester-based journalist Jamie Jackson reckons the loss has once again exposed City's frailties at the back.
I've got to say, it's the old sort of issues, if you like, for City. They defend with this high line. And yet, on the one hand, that's what they've always done. And, you know, when they've been really successful, the odd teams turned them over, but, you know, not enough to sort of stop them dominating. But in Ruben Dias in particular, they've got a defender there who's just a bit too slow and can get caught out.
Elsewhere, we're edging ever closer to the Women's Euros in Switzerland, with the first matches being held tomorrow. England's preparation has, of course, been disrupted by the retirement of Mary Earps. Lionesses legend Farrah Williams has been speaking to talkSPORT.
I think it was more the timing of her decision. You know, a week before the meet-up for camp. I think it, you know, left a sour taste in some of the fans, and obviously she's a big part of this England squad, and you know, she got FIFA best goalkeeper 2 years on the bounce. And today at Wimbledon, the Brits are trying to back up a record-breaking opening day. 7 British players across the men's and women's draw made the second round. It was the most successful day for Brits at the tournament in the Open era. One of them has come in for high praise from Nick Kyrgios.
I think Katie Bolter's got a chance to go deep. She loves playing on the grass. She's got a big game. She lives up to the moment. And beating Paula Badosa, first round, top 10 player, already having a win like that moving forward into the Wimbledon campaign is dangerous.
You can see plenty more content at talksport.com.
Welcome to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT. I'm Jamie O'Hara. Over there, Jason Cundy. Has anyone seen Man City? Holy Pep, you're meant to win 11 beating. No Gallagher. Pep Guardiola, Jack Grealish, Jackie Knuckles. Can you hear me, Jack Knuckles? You're meant to win 11 beating. Liam, Joe Corrigan. Can you hear me, KDB? You're meant to win 11 beating. Bodie, Liam. Can you hear me, McAllister? St. Mansur, you're going to win. Hell of a beating.
Oh, he's absolutely shambles. He just wrote that in 10 seconds. He can't even read his own writing. You forgot Oasis.
Can you hear me, Oasis? You're going to win hell of a beating.
Real Madrid have just beat Juventus in the Club World Cup round of 16. Xabi Alonso and Trent put their mark on this team. Tonight, we are joined by just the man for it as well. Former United Spurs forward, now Spanish football guru, Terry Gibson is in the studio with us. We're going to be joined by Spencer Oliver later on. We're joined by Saudi expert Ben Jacobs. Loads to talk about. We can't do the show without you. 03 717 22 33 44.
Can you hear me, Wonderwall? You're going to win hell of a beating. Hello, matey. We got Gibbo.
We got Gibbo, the super Spanish football expert.
That was a lively start.
Yeah, good start, mate. Yeah. Good start. Man City, shambles. Shambles from Noel. Shambles.
Shambles from the Man City crew. They're out. They've come home. Towels between their legs.
Yeah, what's going on with them lot?
I know, but...
Al Hilal, mate. Good team.
We saw them against Real Madrid.
Good
they took them to a draw.
To score 4 goals against Man City, you're doing something right. I have to say, defensively, though, those City woes have continued, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
They're still a team that, if you get at them, can be got at.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
They still score goals, but they concede them. That's got to be a worry for Pep.
I said, Al Hilal, don't like. Well, I watched them and I was like, they're a good side. They move the ball, they're quick, then like they pass it well. And then they've got a top manager. I don't mug like everyone wants to mug off Saudi football, mate. They're all right.
Well, yeah, they are. But
Saudi they've just beat Man City.
I'm not having. They're representing Saudi football, mate. Come on.
Well, they are.
Well, they are, but they're not. They're not they're not going to be telling us. Oh, have you seen Saudi football? And
That's exactly what they're doing.
No, they're not, mate. They spent gazillions.
What are you doing?
Trying to charge my.
Honestly, mate, you come in here a shambles.
Look how much charge I've got. 99%.
Look at it. Have you seen his screensaver? Look at it.
Goldstein did that.
No, Terry Gibson's in the studio, a Spanish football expert, talks about Real Madrid,
Goldstein did it.
and that's what his screensaver is.
No, but I can't change it. No, listen, well done. They're a good team. You and I watched them play against Real Madrid. They are a good team. There's no doubt about that. However, that's a bad result for City, mate. I don't care what anyone says.
It's a shocker.
It's a terrible result.
Yeah, I know.
And they'll be saying they don't care, and I get it because they come back early, and the City fans will be saying, and I get
But
that.
didn't Pep say this is the Club World Cup for him was a new season?
Correct.
It's the start of a new season.
Correct.
They fouled already.
Correct.
That he come out. He wasn't saying this was the end of the other season. This is a new season.
He did.
And they're out.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah, and they're not even last 16 getting dumped by Al Hilal.
Yes.
Well, they have some good players, by the way. I'm not having Koulibaly, even though he scored.
He scored.
I know. I have him.
Who else I got?
Neves in midfield, mate.
Yeah.
He's decent.
He is decent.
Decent.
I've watched
Who's the other
him.
lad? They've got another lad in midfield.
Who's the other lad?
The other lad. Who's the
And why
other
do we
boy?
ask Tell?
The other lad's decent as well.
Who is it? What's his name, Terry? Good evening, welcome.
Good evening.
How are you, Tell?
Very well, thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, by the way.
Nice pleasure.
You know, we always speak to you on the phone and we have late night chats about Real Madrid and Spanish football, but we thought, you know what, we'll get you in.
Yeah, why not? No, it's a pleasure to be in.
Yeah.
And night the Real Madrid win. And
yeah, it's a massive win. Yeah, Real Madrid have just won tonight. They've won 1-0.
And we were talking earlier about the City players look crushed. The players that do win games, they look absolutely thrilled, don't they? They're really going for it. The players, no doubt, are taking this as
it's a 250
a lot more
grand,
serious than I
probably
thought they would.
Yeah, win bonus.
I know that the win bonus is there for the club. Is it 100 million, something like that?
But there will be, that.
Tell you run around a bit more when you got that little, that win bonus, 250 grand. Do you know what I mean?
But what is a win bonus to a player now? It meant a lot to us.
Yeah.
Because it was like half you were on 600 quid a week and you got £200 win bonus. It was worth it. But now if you're on 200 grand a week and your win bonus is what, 5, 10 grand?
Every little helps, Tell.
I've got a funny feeling. If you're part of this as a player, you could have gone to the club and said, it's out of season, this is extraordinary. Sit down. I reckon they could structure a win bonus. I reckon this could be supersede the Champions League if they win this because of the prize money, what it means. There's more money winning this than the Champions League. And I reckon the players could sit down for 4 weeks' work, genuinely.
Yep.
I think they're going to cream £1 million each, mate. £1 million each.
Do you reckon? What's a million to
maybe
Mbappe?
more.
What's
Maybe
a million
more.
to Mbappe, though? Really?
No, I know. But
Absolutely bothered, isn't he?
But it might be like amongst a group. Maybe
But it's 100 million.
Maybe £2 million each. Maybe £3 million. I don't know what it is. They'll sit down, depending on what club you play at. There's a new structure. This is out of the ordinary.
And it would be a new bonus, wouldn't it? Because this tournament has not happened before, so it wouldn't be in their regular contracts, regular bonuses.
Yeah. They'd £5 million up each, mate, couldn't they?
5 million? Or was it 1 million or 5 million?
Well,
I mean, how greedy are you, by the way?
Depends who you play for, right?
Okay, if you're at Chelsea, what are you asking for?
10. No, but you probably, if you're realistic, I don't know, I haven't had time to think about it, but if you're sitting down with the owners and you're saying you're taking the squad of 30 out, right? The players got to get half of that money, right? And there's backroom staff, there's everyone that's there, there's the huge army. Gibbo and I are talking about it. Hey, I'd say 4
each.
£1 million.
Each?
Yeah.
What, each player?
Yeah.
It's 4 million quid?
Yeah.
They get 100 million, Jace. They got 25-man squad. What are you on about?
3 then. 2.
Right.
That's 75.
Two.
Okay,
However,
it's a million.
I
mean, honestly,
Jay, like
your brain is like
I said,
is he stupid or what?
No, but what I'm saying is, the boat never sat down and worked out what it's worth to the club.
It ain't £1 million.
Well, It ain't going to be short of how much short of $1 million would you go?
Well, it ain't going to be $1 million. They'll probably get 50 grand a win bonus each game, and if they get to the final and win the final, they might get 150.
I'm talking about winning it.
All right, 200 grand.
No, you're not doing it for 200
If they got $1 million each,
you're not doing it. You're doing it anyway, regardless.
No,
you're saying no, are you?
200 grand. You get that in pre-season.
Mate, you're talking absolute garbage.
The value of the competition is winning it, is the money now, but also the prestige of being the first winners. So
Yes,
I think we all expect it to be one of the European
Man
giants.
City with a holders tell. I didn't even know.
If you get 100, yeah, but that's when they went straight into the final, didn't they?
This is the inaugural, isn't it? This is the first time it's been done in
like
this,
a proper
in this
tournament.
way. Yeah.
So you had the prestige of winning it if you're champions.
Look, they look like they care, by the way.
They get a purse, that 100 million, isn't it, the club?
Yeah.
If 25 goes the players' way,
It hasn't captured the imagination over here, really, I think, in terms of really getting behind it. But, I mean, watching the games, when Real Madrid, they were buzzing. And they're the big dogs, aren't they? When they've won tonight, they look like they are well over the moon that they've won,
Yeah, it's come at a good time for them. They've got players back from injury,
Yeah.
a new manager. They're players that they've signed, a couple of them that we know well in this country. So it's come at a good time, really. The players will want to impress Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
So it's no big prediction to say I thought they would go far in the tournament, because they forked out 10 million just to get Trent Alexander-Arnold for this competition.
Yes, they did.
Well, he's come up trumps tonight, right? He's putting a great ball for the goal. They win 1-0. It's an assist for Trent. He's played well. He's worth the money instantly, right? You'd say.
If they win this tournament, it's 10 million well spent, isn't it? But you're looking at it from the outside and thinking, well, why didn't they wait a month and get him for free? No, because they want to win.
Yeah, it's
They want to win this tournament. What do you make of the whole Trent thing? Because the first couple of games he looked a bit rusty, looked unfit, which is understandable, right? He's not really featured for Liverpool, but I think he's going to be a big player for Real Madrid, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's we underestimate the size of the move because of the size of the club, because it's Trent Alexander-Arnold who's played all his life at Liverpool. Then suddenly, in the blink of an eye, he hasn't got that summer and a pre-season to settle in. It's crash, bang, wallop straight into this tournament. It's probably helped by the fact that most of the players are in the same boat because it's a new manager.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's stepping into a team and a club that's had Ancelotti, for instance. If he'd still been manager, it might have been harder to adapt. But he's gone in, he's like the rest of the players, they're all looking to impress. It's important for him to do well because Danny Carvajal was back on the bench tonight.
Yeah.
Legend of the club.
He is a legend.
The leader of the club. Same position. And it's important that Trent Alexander-Arnold has got his opportunity and takes it as well as he can, so that at the start of the season, they're not in such a rush to get Carvajal back.
Yeah.
And then that's more games for Alexander-Arnold.
Carvajal
and
still
then he
got
might stay in there?
Has Carvajal still got a lot to offer, though? Because, he's whenever I've watched him, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, and
I know he had a
it's going to be
terrible
interesting.
injury.
He's early 30s now. I think he's probably 33, and he's been out for 10 months with a diabolical injury.
Yeah.
Everything went. Everything.
His whole knee,
went.
right?
The whole lot went. So it remains to be seen how he's going to be when he gets back. He's making all the right noises. He looks well in training.
Yeah.
And as I say, he's with one or two others leaving, Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, who's still at this tournament, which is bizarre that he's going to Milan.
Yeah.
He's still sitting on the bench and coming off the bench for Real Madrid.
Is he still at Real Madrid?
Yeah.
The bench?
He's
No, he's not.
Played tonight.
Yeah.
He signed for Milan.
Yeah. Another example that they wanted him for this tournament to win it.
Yeah.
That's
They
bizarre.
think
So
he's
if you're saying that
necessary.
Trent has to fight for that position because he's been out so long, Carville, the fact that Trent is coming into that, he's the future. Obviously, we know that.
Yeah.
But
6 or
right
7
here,
years difference.
right here, right now, you saying the next 12 to 18 months, that position at right back is not guaranteed.
Oh yes, 100%. I would say Danny Carvajal will probably still be favourite. He's a, I mean, in terms of, as I say, he's a legend. With all the Champions Leagues they've won, he's been at the heart of it. And it would be controversial for Xabi Alonso to discard him. And I think it'd be a waste as well. He's still got a lot to offer, depending on how he gets back from his knee injury. We probably won't see the best of Carvajal until Christmas, maybe after Christmas. But it's competition for a place. Carvajal is a better defender, and he does give you something going forward. I don't think there's any doubt that Alexander-Arnold's strength is going forward, and he's probably better at putting the crosses in and the diagonal passes and set pieces and stuff like that, taking of direct free kicks. So there are differences between the two. I think just Danny Carvajal just edges it in terms of he's good at everything.
Yeah.
Alexander-Arnold is brilliant at one or two things, maybe not as good.
Have you noticed the
defensively.
difference in Alonso already with the way they set the team up? Have you
Totally.
noticed? Oh, really?
Remarkable. I mean, I haven't seen. I've been watching Real Madrid for God knows 20-odd years now. I've never seen him play a 3 at the back, and I knew
Is
he
it a
played
3?
this at Leverkusen.
It's 100% a 3, or is it a 4 with that?
With Trent playing inside.
No, it was Trent Alexander-Arnold, Frank Garcia playing down the left as the wing back, Tchouaméni dropping into the centre of defence alongside Rudiger and Haaaaas. And after that, it was difficult to see exactly where everyone was playing. I think he wants to play a loose 3-5-2. But Vinicius is a pest because he will always stay on the left.
What I've noticed already
Frank Garcia is not going to be able to go up and down the left because Vinicius is meant to be central, but in his natural habitat is playing on the left side of attack.
Yeah.
So, but the fact that they're playing a different style, more possession based, it's quicker to win the ball back. There's a lot of differences in the 3 games that they've had from what we saw from Real Madrid last season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how good they can be with Alonso, because I think he's a bit of a special manager. So we've got loads to talk to you about. We're going to talk about Spanish football. We're going to talk about your career, play for United and Spurs, Wimbledon as well, right? You know, Cundy's got some questions about the cup final we're going to get into about. If you've got any questions for Terry Gibson, you want to have a chat with him, you can give us a call, 03717 22 33 You're listening to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT. Me, Jamie O'Hara, and Jason Cundy. Alongside us tonight, former Manchester United forward Terry Gibson is in the studio. We're going to discuss United and whether Ruben Amorim is the right man to bring them back to the top. You can have your say on that. 03717 22 33 44. But first, we have to talk about where it all started for Terry. Spurs. They've got a new gaffer, they're not really making any moves in the transfer window. Former Spurs striker Darren Bent was back on Drive this afternoon, questioning whether the club hierarchy are ready to back their new manager.
So for Thomas Frank going into this job, he would have looked at he'd have played against them a couple of times last season. He would have seen how they got on last season. He'd have watched footage from the start of the season to how they finished the season. And he'll know they need reinforcements all over the pitch. But surely you're going to have to back him now. You go all out to sack Ange, you won you a trophy, and bring Thomas Frank in because you believe he's the right man.
Yeah.
You have to give him every single possibility to succeed. Oh, yeah. Because we spoke about it in the meeting. If they finish 10th this season...
Say it properly.
10th, right?
10th.
Would the Spurs fans look at Thomas Frank and go...
Great question.
Like, job well done.
Great question.
And the answer to that is no.
Yeah, that was Bentley obviously speaking on Drive. They brought Thomas Frank in. I think he's a really good manager, but I feel like, and I'm hoping I'm wrong because it's still early days in the transfer window, it feels to me like they've brought in Thomas Frank and that's given Daniel Levy a cushion to go quiet on spending any money.
And it's easy to make that accusation. If you want to pick at Spurs, it's Daniel Levy's the obvious target, isn't he? But
yeah.
Do you know what? I look at the Spurs squad. I know they finished in a ridiculous position in the league, and it doesn't need ripping up. They built a lot of young players, and I think players underperformed. I think the manager was at fault last season. I think there was injury issues to defensive players at the start of the season, first half of the season in particular. But I wouldn't be looking at ripping that squad up. I think if you get rid of 4 or 5 players, bring 4 or 5 in.
Who would you get rid of?
We're talking about Richarlison today, aren't they? So I think that he hasn't had the impact at Spurs that you would look at. I think central defence, I think they're well stocked in central defence. Yeah. Maybe, I think left back, right back, I think they're okay. If you're looking at Potter and Jed Spence and Udogie, I think they're well stocked in that position. Midfield, could they do a bit more creativity? But then you got Maddison, you know, and he missed games for injury last season. So I think with a better manager, and I'm thankful as a Spurs fan, Postecoglou won the Europa League. But I could see the same mistakes being made over the last 2 years, and I could see the same errors from the players, the same errors from the coach and the coaching staff, and it did frustrate me. But when they buckled down and when they knuckled down for a tournament they thought they could win, they applied themselves. So I don't think it needs a massive rip-up. That squad underperforms. 17th, wasn't it?
I think Bentley makes a great point about where should Spurs finish, right? Realistically now. And he said there in that little clip, if they finish 10th, no Spurs fan is celebrating that.
No chance.
Right? Even though he's improved and it's impossible to get any worse unless you get relegated, and that's not happening. I think minimum European football. I genuinely 100%. Feel minimum. That, you know,
it's a big step up, though. I mean, we finished 17th.
No, I genuinely
and we've got Champions League football.
I don't think it's a big step up. I think that the league performance was a disgrace.
Yeah.
It's an absolute disgrace. You got away with murder last year.
22 defeats, wasn't it?
Mate, you got away with murder. That's never happening.
Good season, no tell.
It wasn't a good season.
Memorable season.
Iconic.
It was a terrible season, and you got out of jail, right? And that's fine. Cup competition, it can do that. Cup.
Yeah.
Let me tell you now, 17th is an absolute disgrace. It's the worst performance ever by a so-called big club in the Premier League. Ever. Argue that point. You can't.
No.
European champions.
No, but you can't. You can't argue that point,
champions.
right?
European champions.
European champions.
Tell. Come on, tell. You played for Spurs. Help me out.
I know, but the point is, that was... So you can't get any worse. Now, be better, but be much better. Be where Spurs should be. Spurs are a top-half team, minimum.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now, get in the Europa Conference. I think anything less than European football is a failure. Genuinely feel it's a failure.
I know, but I look
and I mean league here, not scraping in, not getting, dropping. You can't drop down anymore, can you? But you know what I'm saying? Come on. You saying that Spurs, would you be happy with 10th?
No, I won't
You're
be
not
happy.
winning the Champions League, are you?
It's not the league position that I'm worried about. It will be the manner of our performances. Thomas Frank's first season in charge, you can't expect him to go and get Champions League football. It's just not going to happen.
I'm not saying that.
There's a lot of good teams, like Bournemouth have got Semenyo.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like Brentford have had Mbuemo. There's good players in every team.
Top 4, he wins Manager of the Year.
Yeah,
right.
I think
if he gets top
does.
4,
but I think it's harsh to put pressure on him straight away to say he's got to get European football. Like we're in the Champions League, which is a massive competition.
It is Spurs.
Honestly,
I'd still
yourself.
Be hopeful of.
You think it's a massive question to say to finish above? Okay, name the teams. Right.
Well, we ain't going to finish above Liverpool,
Okay,
Man
okay,
City,
right.
Arsenal.
Yeah. Chelsea, right?
Yeah, Chelsea,
Newcastle,
Villa.
Aston Villa.
right?
Right, yeah, so that's 6.
Right. Let's go to 7.
Yeah, so 7
But are you saying
is where
the
Spurs
Spurs
want to
can't
try
finish-
and... I think 7.
All right. Okay.
If we can get 7
Well, then you get conference
with a new manager, I think, you know, and a decent spell of good football and a structure to our play, you know, and
More than possible,
and
in my
he's
opinion.
proving that, you know, the players that, you know, like Brennan Johnson's and you know, he gets the best out of Maddison and the young players that we've got who have come in, then I'd be happy with that because it's his first season. But I want to see a better style of football. I don't want to see us losing 22 games. Do you know what I mean? Now, that can't happen. We need to be a well-drilled, oiled side. And where that puts us in the league, I don't know, because I don't know if the player's good enough.
Only Man United, the other side, you can go, they should be doing better. But other than that, Forest, can they do what they did last year?
Yeah, but, mate...
Can they? I don't know.
Nottingham Forest. You know, Elanga's talking about going for £65 million. They've got Morgan Gibbs-White starting for England. You know, Hudson-Odoi's had a great season. 2 centre-halves. Fantastic.
Chris Wood.
You know, what was it? Aina. It's at right back. They've got a great team.
Will you finish
Matt
above
Sells,
Forest?
he got manager, he got goalkeeper of the season. Don't tell, you know, are Spurs that good?
No,
Are Spurs better than Nottingham Forest?
No, you're that bad. You haven't got a clue how good you are. You're that bad last year. You're scrambling around talking about players that probably on their day shouldn't get ahead of Brennan Johnson.
Morgan Gibbs-White starts for Tottenham. Elanga
Last
starts
season.
for Tottenham.
Last season.
You know?
This season.
Callum Hudson-Odoi starts. Who's the lad in midfield?
Well,
He's brilliant for Nottingham Forest.
17th.
Well, Aina. He's probably on par with Porro, maybe better. Keeper starts. And that's what I'm saying.
No.
Everyone expects Tottenham to be like, right, we've got Thomas Frank, we're going to get Champions League football.
See,
That's it. Tottenham have got to be Champions League.
I'd still say with 3 or 4 of those teams that Jason just mentioned that I still think Spurs should be pitching around that. Villa, Newcastle, even Chelsea are developing their squad. So I don't.
Chelsea
I think
spent £1 billion,
Liverpool, yes.
Tel.
Man City, we don't know what to expect. Arsenal, I can't bring myself to say anything.
I
good
know,
about
but
Arsenal.
you know,
You're struggling to.
you can't get away from the fact that Arsenal are on a different level to Tottenham right now in terms of where they've got to. In terms of
I think Spurs have underachieved so much
in the league.
Yeah, in the league.
Yeah.
The reality.
I think you're right.
The reality is,
we don't know. We don't know how good we are.
but they're not 17th worst side in the
No,
country.
they're not
I'm
17th.
I will not. No
Obviously.
one will ever tell me that with a straight face.
Obviously, it's got
The
to be
problem
top
was the
half.
first half of the season was wrecked for injury. The second half was one eye on the Europa League. That was the get out, wasn't it? They weren't going to qualify for Europe.
No, I think that.
So there it was suddenly, we're not going to get relegated. We're in no man's land. Yeah, what does it matter if we finish 14th, 15th, 17th? Some of the games they lost was a reserve team were playing and players were being rested because it was all about staying in the Europa League.
Do you think he's going to be successful, Thomas Frank?
I think the tools are there for him to be successful, yeah. But what is successful at Spurs at the moment? Postecoglou's been successful and gone.
Yeah.
Successful. He's
I
probably
think now
competing on a regular basis.
regular
for the
basis,
for the top 4.
top 5, top 6, regular bases. You know, latter stages of tournament.
Conference football next season.
Good
right?
structure.
I think that's a very good place to start the rebuild and go again. Genuinely,
Yeah.
I do. I think
I'll be happy with 7th. If we finish 7th next season, I'll be happy as a Spurs fan. And we don't embarrass ourselves in the Champions League.
Oh, that'll happen.
What do you mean?
No
that's
chance.
that's coming. I can't
No
wait
chance.
for those nights.
We're going to embarrass ourselves, aren't we?
There's a lot of average teams in the Champions.
Yeah, Spurs are one of them.
We won't be. We won't be. Spurs won't be. I promise you. I'll come back on if I get egg all over my face if it goes horribly wrong. I'm more than happy to come back in, but they'll qualify out the group. Do
you think? You think we qualify?
Yeah, of course.
What, straight qualification?
Yes.
Really? That's a big statement.
It might be via the playoff,
What
but
pot are you in though? You know what pot you're in? You're in pot F.
there's 32 teams in that league now,
Yeah,
isn't
we'll
there?
be
And
fine.
over half of them go through, so
Fine.
you've got to be really poor to not qualify.
Not
And I don't think Spurs are.
from Spurs.
Teaming up with you. It's day 2 at Wimbledon. Novak Djokovic is still on centre court. Lisa O'Sullivan is watching for talkSPORT.
He has just done the job against Alexander Muller of France. 6-1, 6-7, 6-2, 6-2. And when at one point he looked like he might not finish the match. We had the trainer out on the court. He looked most unwell. but he is a 7-time champion looking to equal Roger Federer's 8 here at the All England Club. It's been an amazing day. Second seed Coco Gauff, third seed Jessica Pegula and Zhang Qinwen, the number 5, going out in the women's draw. The men's number 3 seed Alexander Zverev is out, but on the Brit front, straightforward all round for Jack Draper, Dan Evans and the wild card Jack Pennington-Jones, making it 10 British players into the second round.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Big day. Wimbledon. You like Wimbledon, Joe?
Yeah, second week probably when the big hitters are under a threat of going out.
Yeah. We want to hear from some Spurs fans. We've got a couple of them who have phoned up. Give us a call on 03 717 22 33 We are going to get into Terry Gibson's days with Vinnie Jones and all the boys in the FA Cup final. Got some good stories for us. You're listening to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT with talkSPORT Bet. Download the new talkSPORT Bet app today. 18 plus. Began by Dog.
Haaaaas win over Man City at the Club World Cup has ushered in a new era of football. That's according to FIFA President Gianni Infantino, but Simon Jordan says it's no surprise to see him sucking up to the Saudis.
He knows that DAZN are a broadcaster that have been in part bought by Saudi. He knows that some of the money behind this tournament is Saudi money, so he's cozying up to the money in the same way he cozies up to Trump.
Well, despite being dumped out of the competition, Pep...
You are listening to the record-breaking Sports Bar on talkSPORT. Me, Jamie O'Hara, and Jason Cundy alongside us tonight. A very special guest, former Manchester United forward Terry Gibson. We're going to talk to him about Spanish football. And we get some calls as well. Spurs fans can phone up. Got a bit heated there. 03 717 22 33 But Tel, I've got to ask you. Obviously, you know, you've become a Spanish football expert. How did that come about?
I was appointed assistant manager of Northern Ireland with Laurie Sanchez.
Yeah.
And it was a part-time job. So it basically a match fee. You got a match every time. There was 10 games a year.
No way.
500
assistant
quid a
manager
game.
for international. You just got a match fee.
Yeah, 500 quid a game.
Jeez.
So I needed another job that tied up with me being allowed to go away for 2 weeks for the international breaks. So unless I got a job as an assistant manager of Premier League team, the Championship teams at that time were still playing during the international breaks. Youth team coach, I was still been called, I wouldn't been able to go away, so it was difficult. So I came up with the idea of, at the time, there wasn't anyone else doing it, being a foreign scout, going and living abroad. And Spanish football was the thing I'd been watching for 15 years before that. So I thought about going live in Spain, see if 1 or 2 clubs were interested. And as it happens, Sam Allardyce was manager of Bolton, and he wanted me to do a bit of work for him. And Stuart Pearce was manager of Man City, and they were both ex-teammates of mine. So they jumped at the opportunity. So I combined scouting, living in Spain, watching all the games, all
Where did
levels.
you live?
Costa del Sol.
Of course that's not Spain.
I need to...
Hold on. Yeah, I went out there to be a scout.
Listen,
Yeah, I'm in Marbella, knocking about Port Banús.
At the time, it was perfect. Malaga was just up the road. They were in the top division. It was an hour and a half from Seville, Betis, Almeria.
Yeah.
Granada. I'm clutching at straws. He's trying to think of all these things.
He's sitting in Port Banús. He's on the phone to Sam Allardyce. Sammy, kind of good players here. Good players, good up top.
On the golf course, by the way, at the time.
And I really... No. Honestly, I travelled all over the place, but it was educational for me. I loved it. The first game I went to watch was Seville against Atletico Madrid. Simeone was in midfield. Fernando Torres was up front. Jesus Navas was 17. Ramos was 17. It was late October. It was boiling hot. And I thought, don't mind a bit of this.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I fell in love with it. I loved it before I went. But getting up close and watching everyone on a regular basis, not just picking 2 or 3 games a week to watch on telly. And that's where it started. And then Sky Sports found out that what I was doing, wanted someone else in their team that knew about the Spanish players other than the Real Madrid and Barcelona ones. And I think it was 2007 I started working as a pundit, so I came back to do that.
Amazing.
And blagged the living ever since.
So just on that, so you'd have seen some of these young boys growing up before they were the household names you've just mentioned.
Yeah, David De Gea, 16-year-old goalkeeper.
Right, okay. Did any players move on behalf of your scouting network, your information?
Yeah, Pablo Zabaleta. City got him for $4 million. At the time when Stuart Pearce was manager, City didn't have a bean. Okay. Didn't have anything to spend.
To bean in.
Yeah, they were really working on a really low budget until there was one takeover, and then the big takeover came, didn't it, after Stuart Pearce left. So Zabaleta was one. Martin Petrov was another one that came from Atletico Madrid to City, who was a good player. I even claimed David Silva, because I was working for City and did numerous match reports on David Silva when he was on loan from Valencia at Celta Vigo. So he's a young kid that was, and I marked him down to City. Then he goes back to Valencia, makes it, then goes to sets the world alight. Santi Cazorla was another one I saw playing on loan for a smaller club and recommended him to clubs in England. But
who was the best one that you saw as a young kid?
De Gea, probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I went to watch an under-16 international match. It looked comical because he was the same height as he is now.
Yeah.
His legs were like stick thin, but you could see all the attributes needed. Now, no, it's a goalkeeper, and I'm not an expert on goalkeepers, but it was quite obvious that he was very tall at that age, doing all the saves and stuff, and you think he's got a chance. He was Atletico Madrid goalkeeper then, and he's going to crack it. That would probably be... But Navas and Ramos were 16 and 17 playing for Sevilla.
Yeah.
Playing in the first team. There's young players then and still get more opportunities in La Liga than they do in the Premier League.
So how much did Ramos go for in the end?
20 million to Real Madrid.
Yeah, that draw, I suppose, for a Spanish player is huge, right? And what year did he move?
I would say... I went 2004 to 7. Around about 2007,
right?
2008.
So for a Premier League club to get him would have probably have offered something close to 30.
Yeah.
At that time. Yeah, and that's a lot, isn't it? It's a big risk on.
And he was playing
Real Madrid.
And that's what I mean. To turn his head.
Yeah, he was playing right back at the time.
Yeah.
He was right back. Dani Alves was right wing, and they sold Ramos and put Dani Alves right back, and he. So on the blink of an eye, they made about 50 million on 2 right backs.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Well,
it's crazy. Look, just on Spanish football out there, coming through the ages, and obviously over here it's massive. The Premier League, it's worldwide. How are the fans in Spain with their football clubs? Will they travel everywhere? Because we've been talking about it's a big country to get around.
Yeah, it's a massive country. I looked at it. It's 863 kilometres is the furthest distance. The kick-off times are all separate in Spain. So 1 Friday, 1 Monday night, 4 on Saturday, all separate, 4 on Sunday, separate. Kick-off times are not great, but there is a culture growing now of away fans. They're making it regulation in terms of the away ticket prices of €30, which is decent.
Yeah.
And most of the clubs have signed up for that. 3 or 4 haven't. The usual ones that don't need to entice
names,
supporters
please,
in.
names.
Real Madrid, Barcelona, Athletic Bilbao. There's 3 that don't tend to agree with anything the rest of the league do. Athletic Bilbao don't need money because they can't spend it.
Because they're Basque.
Because they're Basques and they only sign Basques, so they get down. And there's
they don't care.
Easiest job in the world is a director of football at Athletic Bilbao because.
I find it crazy that they've got a team that just won't sign any other players than just Basque players, and they're a really good football club.
Oh, fantastic! It's a fantastic football club.
Yeah,
it's a massive football club.
But there must be
when
such
they play for them, it's like playing for your national team. That's how it is for the boys from the Basque area. To play for Athletic Bilbao every week in the league is like playing for England every single week. So they don't want to leave. They get paid really well. There's no transfer market for Athletic Bilbao because they can't spend their money. Nowhere to spend their money on.
Just local team.
And you can't buy a player from them. Pointless recommending players from Athletic Bilbao until their contracts end.
Really?
So where do they get the players from, other than just the academy or youth teams? Who are the local other teams?
It would be Alaves, Real Sociedad, but they don't tend to steal from each other. It's just all about producing your own. There must be something, and something I'd really like to look into is the different coaching in Spain to different coaching in the Premier League of young players. Because the players I see coming through in Spain, Lamine Yamal, perfect example. I know he's an easy one. They're coached differently. They're coached to be daring, to be skillful, to dribble out the back if you're a centre-back, play as an attacking full-back, to play as the number 10, to be the type of centre-forward winger that takes people on. They encourage that. And there has to be a massive difference in the coaching of young players in Spain to the coaching of young players in England. And it's the level of coaches. Raul, remember Raul, the Real Madrid?
Yeah.
He's the coach of the B team at Real Madrid. He keeps getting the ump because he keeps getting overlooked for every job that, whenever the job comes up. Fernando Torres is a youth team coach at Atletico Madrid. So I think the coaching setup is different to what we have in the
Can I ask you a question on the back of that? Because I thought Pep Guardiola has brought a brand of football to this country that we've never seen before. I felt when he first turned up, I thought they were quite dull City. I didn't enjoy watching them play. Then there was an urgency about the way they played, and the Kevin De Bruyne times where it would be build through the thirds and they'd slow, quick, and then De Bruyne, and then they'd make things happen. Then it felt to me as if everyone tries to copy that, and it's impossible, isn't it, to copy that style of football unless you have the players that can implement that. And everyone seems to do. And I thought last season's Premier League was pretty dull, actually. All the clubs playing in a similar way. In Spain, because that's where it's come from, tic-tac, or whatever you want to call it, Pep Guardiola brought that kind of brand into this country. Do they all play the same? Or
no,
are they all very...
They've never played the same.
Right, okay. So,
yeah.
But does that not make it for a better... I don't know, aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, look.
Yeah, it is. Because Athletic Club are traditionally known as 4-4-2, and they love a big striker. They can't find one at the moment. They literally haven't got one, but they can't go and buy one. So they try and make do with what they've got. Alaves, Getafe, one of the most direct teams in European football, and have been for some time now, and battered everyone in a European competition about 3 or 4 years ago when they qualified, and Ajax complained about their behaviour, and Inter Milan protested about their aggressive nature. So there are, tiki-taka is Barcelona. Real Madrid play an attractive style of football, obviously. How would you describe Atletico Madrid? It's not tiki-taka.
Housery.
They're definitely not tiki-taka, but...
They have changed. They're not as bad as they were.
Yeah, I've not seen... My impression of a Simeone team is obviously technically brilliant footballers, but get the ball in the final third and try and play in their final third.
I think he's tried to change a little bit more now with Julian Alvarez coming in and stuff, but they still play a big centre forward in Alexander Sorloth, who's a big target man. So there aren't many teams. You do get the different regions play different styles of football. That's what makes it attractive as well. You go to all the Canary Island teams, Las Palmas, Tenerife, when they've been in the top division, they play like Brazil. You know, it's in their nature, it's in their culture. So when you go to the north of the country and you're going to Alaves and you're going to Athletic Bilbao and teams like that, Celta Vigo, who qualified for Europe this year, they like a direct style of football. So it is diverse. It makes me laugh when goalkeepers come to England and they say, oh, he's going to have to deal with crosses now. I'm thinking, they're dealing with that in Spain. It's not tiki-taka. It's not the ball's never overhead height. It's surprising to a lot of people who don't watch it every week.
A bit more diversity in terms of the way the teams play.
I just watched them all try, even Southampton.
Well, I'm hoping Thomas Frank's going to bring that to Spurs, because if you look at Brentford, they were one of the teams that were a little bit more diverse.
Yeah.
They play with two up front.
Yeah.
They're not
Get it
too...
behind.
They get it out the back at times, but they're looking at play with purpose and get it forward and get it in behind and get players in the box. So I think that...
if there's one player in Spain that nobody talks about that would be a star in the Premier League, who would that be, do you reckon?
I'm not going to say. No, it's not a hard question, but I'm not going to say, because there'll be some suit or some kid with a clip with a computer somewhere that's going to nick my information. And because it's happened so many times.
Go on, give us an example.
Come on.
Well, someone's nicked your info.
Not nicked it, but they listen.
It's crooked, isn't it?
And I've
It's
come
crooked.
to the stage of my life
Jamie
now.
O'Hara once and said, I've seen this boy.
I'm at a stage of my life now where I'm thinking, I'm not going to help you do your job. So, yeah.
Alex Crook's going to nick your information,
I've
mate.
got Lamine
Just text
Yamal.
me.
Actually, there's another... Lamine Yamal. But there is another one. I'll go with this because no one can buy him. There's another one at Barcelona who's 17 who played 3 games last year and did his ACL. First 3 games of the season. And he's the new Rodri, new Busquets, 17-year-old called Marc Bernal. What a player. All I need was 3 games.
His ACL, he's 17.
Yeah.
A killer. What a killer.
He's bigger than Rodri, and he plays like Busquets and Rodri.
He's produced one of them players, didn't they, Spain?
He's ridiculous. How Barcelona produced... Take Barcelona kids, their coaching must be different to everyone else.
Yeah,
you know, it has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got 4 or 5 we haven't heard of yet that we should have done. Yeah. And they're 16 and 17.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Lamal's just come from nowhere, isn't he?
And there's a 16-year-old who is just like Lamine Yamal at Barcelona, Tony Fernandes. He's not going to get a look in because he's a year younger than Lamine Yamal. He's exactly the same.
Wow. Loads to talk about. We're going to talk Man United next. We're going to talk about Ruben Amorim. If you've got any questions for Tel, give us a call. 03717 22 3344. You're listening to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT with Jamie O'Hara, Jason Cundy and Terry Gibson in the studio. Going to be joined by Saudi football expert Ben Jacobs a little bit later on to talk about Al Hilal. We've got to talk about Manchester United. Terry, you were at the club in 1986 when Sir Alex arrived at the club. He won just 12 of his first 40 games in charge. What was Fergie like? You was under him? How'd it go?
He was fearsome. When he joined, it wasn't a massive. We got Alex Ferguson.
No, because he wasn't what he is now, right?
We knew, we respected what he'd done in Scotland. When it was announced he was manager, Gordon Strachan went, "That's me off then." And within 5 minutes, he'd gone.
Why was that?
There was a fallout over a transfer from Gordon leaving Aberdeen to go somewhere.
Okay.
So Gordon was the only one Gordon Strachan was the only one that had worked with him. I think they've only recently just made up all this time. So the two of them do hold a grudge. And it didn't blow everyone away. We were a little bit unsure, you know. We're talking about a manager that not managed in England. But to me personally, it was fantastic. I didn't have much chance under Ron Atkinson, who bought me. So I was looking for a new start, and he gave me an opportunity. And he was honest with me. He was up front with me. And
how'd you do?
I did better with Fergie in charge. But it was tough going. I was only here 18 months in general. I had to wait a year to make my home debut. So by that time, I'd probably had enough and knew that I was going to be leaving. So whoever came in as manager, it was going to have to be a big turnaround because he came in, he wanted Brian McClary, he wanted this player, he wanted Mark Hughes to come back, who had left. So by the time he'd come in, I sort of knew it was a lost cause. And I didn't want to be back in the reserves and
How old
waiting
were you
around.
at this stage?
I've been 23, 24.
Okay,
So I left Spurs at 19, 20, went to Coventry, 2.5 years there, and then Man United bought me. Spurs wanted me back, but couldn't agree a deal. And I didn't want to go back to playing reserve team football, so...
Where did you go after Man United?
Wimbledon.
Straight.
I left Old Trafford.
Was it a crazy game?
Fantastic.
I know,
Yeah.
what an amazing transfer that is, because obviously you've gone from one of the biggest clubs in world football at the time.
Yeah.
One of the
The
were
biggest
rogues.
stadium in Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Plough Lane.
And Wimbledon. I grew up in Wimbledon, right? So
Yeah.
I knew a mile from Plough Lane. I know the club very well. So that was a big old. That must have. Was it tough or was it easy? Because
That was easy.
It was it? Okay.
Yeah, Coventry, Bobby Gould's brought me from Spurs to Coventry, and I scored over 50 goals in 2.5 seasons. And Gouldy was my manager, and then I went to United, got the big move, didn't work out, didn't get a chance. I'm being honest, I didn't get a chance. A game here and a game there was no good. And then Gouldy got the Wimbledon job and rang me up and said, "Do you fancy it?" It was funny because I'd never been to Plough Lane, never been to Wimbledon, never been to watch a game or anything. They'd flown through the leagues. I met Gouldy in a pub in Wimbledon Village.
Go on, which one is it? Can you remember? Can I throw a couple at you? Dog and Fox, hand in
It
hand.
was
Crooked Bullet.
the Dog and Fox, I think.
Big one on the roundabout.
Yeah, and then
Dog.
yeah, and then we
Fog and Docks.
yeah, and then he took me there,
Go on.
and transfers were so different then. Didn't have an agent. Deal was done. Do you want to play? We can't pay you what United are paying. Knock a chunk of that off. They helped me as much as I could financially. Moving from northwest to London again was a really tough.
Yeah.
House prices and all that. It was like cheapest up north, and then back down here. It was like, so it was a real issue.
Where did you live?
I lived out near Henley-on-Thames in the end. It was cheaper to live miles out of the way. Not in Henley, but out that way. It was cheaper to live out there. And none of the players lived in Wimbledon.
No. But,
no one that played for Wimbledon could afford to live in
Henley's
Wimbledon.
not cheap.
It was cheaper, though.
Was it?
Yeah, it was cheaper.
Look, I want to talk to you a little bit more about Wimbledon, but just on Ruben Amorim at Man United, he's had a bit of a nightmare start, hasn't he?
Terrible start. And he didn't want to come, did he? He wanted to wait until the summer.
He did. He wanted to come now.
He wanted to come. He wanted a fresh start in the summer, a transfer window to get stuck into it. And it kind of felt that way for the rest of the season. And he's taking criticism because he won't change his tactics when he probably should have done until the end of the season. At the very least, shouldn't he? He should have adapted. Thought this isn't working. I haven't got the players I need to do this. I need to adapt. I need to do it. In the summer, we'll start afresh.
See on that, right? I absolutely hear that argument, and Jay and I had this debate for many, many weeks. The issue I have with that, I felt that he came in, and here's what I'm going to do. And I felt if he had moved from that point, I think there'd be a part of a player at the club at the time that would have gone, oh, you've now gone from what your ethos, everything about you is this, and now you've gone to the. And I wonder whether he'd have lost a few of the players. Then if he was to go back to the 3 now, which he's going to go a 3, I just wonder what potential damage that might have done. I wonder if that was going through his mind.
He might have lost the players that he wants to lose anyway. So, do you know what I mean? Some have already left. Some are going to have to leave. It's really untidy. We talked about Spurs earlier, and I said I don't think that squad needs ripping up. United's does.
Yeah.
It really has got loads of players.
I don't think they're going to improve next season. I think they're going to be really poor. And I can't see an improvement.
Centre forward is the main one, isn't it? Hoyland, I think, has got a chance, but he doesn't get an awful lot of service. They rely on Bruno Fernandes, don't they, too much.
Yeah.
Defensively, if they got the right players yet to play the 3 at the back, and the 2 number 10s, and it's quite a complicated system of play. And he probably does need, I would say, 7 or 8 first team players. So that's how big a job it is at United. Are they going to get that? No chance. That's the problem. Not going to
get rid of them. The biggest job at United is getting rid of the likes of Anthony. Unless I can't see him coming back. Rashford and Sancho, the 2 other big dogs, and Casemiro. What's happened to him now? He's got another year left in his contract.
He's chilling, mate.
Long gone are those days where players used to leave Man United and take half the wages to go to Wimbledon.
Yeah,
don't happen anymore, guys.
Terry, what do you think? What do you think Sir Alex Ferguson would have done with like a Rashford?
Well, I think it got out of control over the years, isn't it? As a culture, the younger players at Man United, let's be honest, isn't good.
No,
it hasn't been good, and that wouldn't have happened under Sir Alex Ferguson. And also the dressing room wouldn't have allowed it either. A different culture, but that's football in general now. The dressing rooms were policed by the experienced players. Jason probably, I know he's younger than me, and you're younger than Jason, but we're over an era where you didn't breathe a word in the first team changing room, and you didn't step out of line, and you did as you were told, and there was an authority about the senior players. It was a dream of yours to be in the team with them or being around them and training with them. You didn't take liberties. If you did, you wouldn't have lasted.
I think the issue now is that these players at 18, 19 are on 150 grand a week, and they're already superstars in their head.
Exactly.
And they don't have that feeling of respect and authority for the elders, you'd say, Like, I remember you had Robbie Keanes and your people like
they're not all like it, but there are, Man United in particular do have more than their fair share, I think, of young players that have...
These young players are playing for Man United. They're out, they think, I've made it. I'm at Man United. So I ain't gonna listen to you and tell me what to do.
Yeah.
But problem is you end up with what they've got now. It's an absolute nightmare.
And I just mentioned Garnacho as always another one. They've got a lot of players that are
talented young player, but
out of control. But are a problem to the club and financially a weight around their neck.
We're going to tell you're going to stay with us for another 15, 20 minutes. We're going to talk to you about some of the iconic games in English football, the Wimbledon win in the FA Cup. You played in that, and that's going to give us some stories on that next. You're listening to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT with talkSPORT Bet. Download the new talkSPORT Bet app today. 18 plus. Gamble.org.
Al Hilal's win over Man City at the Club World Cup has ushered in a new era of football. That's according to FIFA President Gianni Infantino, but Simon Jordan says it's no surprise to see him sucking up to the Saudis.
He knows there's an enormous amount of investment in sport. He knows that the Saudi Pro League is enormously invested in by the Saudi state. He knows that DAZN are a broadcaster that have been in part bought by Saudi. He knows that some of the money behind this tournament is Saudi money. So he's cozying up to the money in the same way he cozies up to Trump.
Well, despite being dumped out of the competition, Pep Guardiola seems upbeat about his side's performances in the US. But Manchester-based journalist Jamie Jackson reckons the loss has once again exposed City's frailties at the back.
I've got to say, it's the old sort of issues, if you like, for City. They defend with this high line. And yet, on the one hand, that's what they've always done. And, you know, when they've been really successful, the odd teams turned them over, but, you know, not enough to sort of stop them dominating. But in Ruben Dias in particular, they've got a defender there who's just a bit too slow and can get caught out.
Elsewhere, we're edging ever closer to the Women's Euros in Switzerland, with the first matches being held tomorrow. England's preparation has, of course, been disrupted by the retirement of Mary Earps. Lionesses legend Farrah Williams has been speaking to talkSPORT.
I think it was more the timing of her decision. You know, a week before the meet-up for camp. I think it, you know, left a sour taste in some of the fans, and obviously she's a big part of this England squad, and you know, she got FIFA best goalkeeper 2 years on the bounce.
And today at Wimbledon, the Brits are trying to back up a record-breaking opening day. 7 British players across the men's and women's draw made the second round. It was the most successful day for Brits at the tournament in the Open era. One of them has come in for high praise from Nick Kyrgios.
I think Katie Bolter's got a chance to go deep. She loves playing on the grass. She's got a big game. She lives up to the moment. And beating Paula Badosa first round, top 10 player, already having a win like that moving forward into the Wimbledon campaign is dangerous.
You can see plenty more content at talksport.com. You are listening to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT. I'm Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy alongside me. We are also joined by the studio guest, Manchester United and Spurs forward Terry Gibson.
Don't forget Wimbledon.
He's in the studio. We're going to look back at some of the special moments in English football history.
One of the great cup shocks of all time. It's a weird and wonderful world if you come from Wimbledon. They've won the FA Cup.
You pulled off one of the greatest comebacks, or great shocks, I'd say, in English football history. You beat Liverpool 1-0 in the 1988 FA Cup final. I mean, just talk us through how amazing that run was and what it was like to be there.
Well, it's my first season at the club. And I knew I was joining a club that was different. We joked earlier about Bobby Gould signing me in a pub. And then he took me to Plough Lane. And I thought, oh, my God. It was the first time I'd ever been to the stadium. This is an Old Trafford. Then the next day I turned up for training and the training ground was worse than the ground. I'm thinking, what have I done?
Just off the A3.
Yeah, exactly. And it was school kids training next year and it was just bonkers. But I knew immediately I joined, it was different, it was unique. But funny enough, when I left United to go to Wimbledon, Paul McGrath said to me, can you get me to Wimbledon. There was an element of intrigue from players that wanted to know what, if they weren't money mad, they wanted to know what was going on at Wimbledon because it was so different. They'd gone through in the 11 years from being non-league to winning the FA Cup to playing in the top division. So it was a unique football club and so ahead of its time. Honestly, I know it sounds a strange thing to say. Yes, they played a particular style of football. It was at times over-aggressive.
I've seen some of Vinnie Jones clips.
Yeah, I mean, but football was an aggressive game then. It wasn't just us, but we were probably the most aggressive. I say most aggressive. There was 2 or 3 other teams that were quite tasty when they played us as well. But it was, I knew I was joining something different. We were doing stuff that clubs have only just started. The stats, we were doing them, but we had people in the stand at Wimbledon games that were writing down how many crosses a player put in, how many knockdowns a player won. It was a basic style of football. It took a while to get used to, but it was all about hitting channel balls, not playing out the back. It was, Dave Besson was the first goalkeeper to dribble the ball out of his goal and pump it down the other end of the pitch.
So he's got close down, he lumps it. What Dave Besson did? No, he did. Get everyone up, get into saturate an area. I played against at Wimbledon too.
Yeah.
I know. You know what's coming. The bombs are coming. The bombs are coming.
From kickoff.
Yeah, the bombs are coming.
I was highly embarrassed from kickoff when it's taken to you and you kick it out for a throw as close as you can to the corner flag. Or you go back to the goalkeeper, who then, when we'll charge up the pitch, and Dave Besson would wait. No one, as Jason said, you couldn't go and close him down because he would then launch it. If it gets headed back, the old offside rule as it was, you're offside. So you couldn't go and close him down. So he was going. Now we see goalkeepers that make, what a pass. We weren't saying that about Dave Besson when he was launching it down one side of the pitch with the whole all 20 outfield players in one quarter of the pitch.
You could throw a beach towel over every single outfield Wimbledon player, right? And it turned into fight ball. It was, it's coming.
Yeah.
So how do you stop it? We can't.
What were the players, though? Obviously, you had Vinnie Jones. When you look back at the players, just seeing the clips there, there's some good players, some top
Terry
players.
Phelan.
Eric Young.
Eric Young and Thorny both went to Palace and then ended up playing in another cup final.
Yeah.
Laurie Sanchez in midfield and Vinny with 2 big lumps that could run all day at one pace. Neither could sprint, but they could run all day at one pace. I was up front with Fash. Alan Cork, who was, I think he was only about 29, 30 in that. He clearly looked older, didn't he, Corky, the bald eagle. What an intelligent player he was. And as Jason said, Dennis Wise. So we were a quick, athletic team that was strong, powerful, arrogant beyond belief, that when we went to the cup final, we literally genuinely believed we would win it. Not could, would. But we did. We had a good team. We were competing against Liverpool that year and we played them on 2 occasions, beating other teams, and it was fun. It took its toll after 6 years. We were physical, other teams were physical. I'm not the biggest bloke in the world. And playing up front for Wimbledon for 6 years took its toll in terms of physically.
You're basically getting Cundy going right for the back of you every week.
Yeah, and I became good at pinning centre halves. I'm 5'4". Used to be. I'm probably not even that now. I've probably shrunk, and I was probably stretching it at 5'4". But I became good at backing in and not letting centre halves set the ball clear or getting a free kick, stuff like that.
Where did it come from? Because it started before Gouldy,
Dave Bassett.
right? So Dave Bassett, before that was Dario Guerrero, but Dave Bassett was the one, wasn't he? Wally Downs. Wally Downs was very much part. Yeah. They've written the book. We've had him in the studio. That was where it kind of started. And who was the main man? Or the men that were in there? I mean, I'm guessing Fash is in there.
No, it was Corky.
Was it Corky?
Dave Besson.
Was it?
Laurie Sanchez.
Right.
Don Howe was our coach as well. So Don was, at that time, Don was England assistant manager and Wimbledon's coach. So Bob was wise. Don did a lot of the coaching. Gouldy he signed some incredible players for that team and later on for Wimbledon made them an absolute fortune as well. He did it at Coventry as well. Signed the value Gouldy was in terms of his knowledge in buying, signing players, scouting players. And we were getting players booked left, right and centre, and Gouldy and Don sat us down and wanted to talk about improving the disciplinary record. And Corky and Sanch and Dave Besson and 1 or 2 others pretty much told them, no, this is our way or the highway for you.
This is why we're going to do it.
Well, they've done it. They've done it for 10, 11 years.
How do you tone that down if that's what you built your success on? There's more to it than that. But if you take away the physicality, you do lose a lot of that Wimbledon threat because that's who they were, the crazy gang. You take away the crazy out the gang, you just got a gang.
Why were they called the Crazy Gang?
Again, it starts from the lower divisions. That's where it started. And that's where it genuinely really was at its best, worst. I don't know how you would describe it. And it didn't get reported on because they were in the Division 4, Division 3, Division 2. Then eventually when they get promoted to the top division, then it becomes a story that people want to hear about.
Yeah.
But the real ones that set up the Crazy Gang, Wally, he was the first apprentice to be signed by the club.
Was he, right?
And then become a player and the main protagonist in terms of the Crazy Gang.
But also, there were games that Wimbledon would go, and one of the most famous, iconic photos actually in English football is Vinny grabbing Gazza, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the most iconic. That was at Player. I was at that game. It was a night game, and that was where he's. So that's what they did. So it wasn't just what stuff you could see; it was stuff like that. Also, in winter, no hot water, right? You know.
In the grounds.
Right, in the grounds, right? You'd go there in summer. The heating would be turned up. You're walking in. It's like walking into a sauna. There's all in. No toilet paper, right?
How wide was that? Wide was that tunnel?
No,
well, you could squeeze one person at a time down there.
I used to play there as a kid, right? So I'm from Wimbledon, so I played finals there, right? So I knew there. But it was what happened when you were there. They made it as uncomfortable as possible, and little things like no toilet paper. You're like, you want to. Someone's got to go to the local co-op or whatever it was.
And we had the ghetto blaster.
And the ghetto, that was
we were the first to do. We were the first to do the in-swinging free kicks. We had the first goalkeeper that dribbled out the box, and the first team with the ghetto blaster. We went to Spurs. Terry Venables, he really had a bee in his bonnet about us. I love Terry Venables, brilliant coach and a fantastic bloke. But he really didn't like Wimbledon. So when we went there, he put a sign up in the tunnel 10 signs. The playing of loud music is strictly prohibited. They'd taped all the plugs up so that we couldn't, but we just had batteries. And who's going to take any notice of a sign that Eltel's put up?
Yeah, we just turn it up another notch, right?
So teams hated us. And over the years, winning that cup final, we were hated. Everyone wanted us to lose, apart from if you supported Wimbledon. The rest of the country hated us and wanted us to lose. We knew that.
I don't know about that, actually.
But now, over the years, everyone's...
No, I don't. Well, listen, I'm from Wimbledon, so I remember it. I remember exactly where I watched it, and I was actually part of that crowd when you lot were at that Saturday night in Wimbledon. Sensational stuff, mate.
Yeah, but
honestly, as an 18-year-old
why are you trying to get involved with the success?
Jay, what a night out that was! It was like a party you've never seen before in Wimbledon, right? Everyone was out. Even didn't like football.
We weren't. We had a stinker.
Were you at Canazares House?
What, you didn't go out?
We had the marquee on the pitch, and Vinny and co were running around throwing out celebrities that they didn't want there. So Jimmy Hill had his collar felt because he'd slagged us off during the season. So Vinny went, he want him out, and then Lulu turned up, and everyone's going, Lulu's never been to a game of football at Player Lane.
Liverpool fan.
Get rid of her. So
you kicked out Lulu.
Yeah. The Crazy Gang. So and that ended about midnight. We couldn't get a cab back to the Canizares Hotel. We ended up getting a lift in a police van because we were walking. We couldn't get anywhere. The hotel wouldn't serve us a drink.
This is after
our
the cup final.
reputation preceded us, and we couldn't celebrate. No one would let us in.
You should have come with me.
You should have. Oh no!
If only I knew you back then, matey.
That's mental. So you won the cup final. You can't even get a drink.
And we were going to walk. How far is it from Player Lane to the Canizares?
That is. That's a good hour, mate.
Yeah,
that's a good hour.
We were going to do that because there was too many of us. There was like 8 players and wives. 8 players and wives. So it's like 6. We couldn't get cabs, and then the police van spotted us. We had our cup final suits on, and the police van picked us up and took us back to the hotel, and then they wouldn't allow us to get a drink. Yeah, they wouldn't get the bar open there.
That's crazy, isn't it? Good times, though.
Good times, mate. Yeah. Imagine that.
And do you know what? It was Crazy Gang and all that. The hardest working group of players. They loved hard training. It would drive me bonkers. We'd win a game on a Saturday. We'd go on Monday, and the rewards would be, instead of a run called the A3 Wimbledon, which was about 10 miles, we'd just do an A3, which was about 5 miles. And no one moaned. And I was like, they're Spurs, and I was like, and Coventry and Man United, I'm looking at Glenn Hoddle, what they would have said, and Ozzy Ardili said, Brian Robson different at United, he could run forever. But there were 1 or 2 at United who said, man, doing a 5 mile, we run on Saturday, but the Wimbledon lot, no, it was like being in the army, training with that lot. and shortcut, I got all the shortcuts and hiding in bushes and all that. And John Kinnear used to follow me because they used to, when he was reserve team manager, I don't know what they were thinking sending Joe out on a cross-country run with us, and me and him used to hide in the bushes and jump on at the end. He caught me once. Like, oh, no, I'm in trouble. And he went, Gibbo, let me follow you. But they were so hard working. As I said, we had the statistics galore. Players knew if they weren't doing their job. Everybody in the team knew each other's job in the team, and if you didn't do it, it wasn't down to the manager. Other players would tell you, and it was fun.
It's amazing
yeah, amazing story.
They had the worst budget in every league they played in, and got promoted, and then win the FA Cup with the worst budget in the first
division.
mentality,
isn't it? That's a team.
Will you ever see Wimbledon again? We won't.
I think they'll do it again.
You think they could?
I believe that they'll do it again.
Really?
Yeah.
I was at Wembley for that fight.
Yeah, I believe that it might take them longer. I hope in my lifetime I get to see them play in the top flight. Don't know how they're going to do it, but I don't know how they are where they are now. It's a miracle where they are now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Must be everyone's second favourite team in the country.
Cundy loves them. He just doesn't.
Well, I went to the playoff final. My brother's a season ticket holder. That's where I grew up, so I've got a soft spot for Wimbledon, but hated playing Wimbledon. Because he got, big fat.
Do you ever play against Cattell?
Stick it, I must have done. Stick it in a mixer. And I'm looking up, he's almost like queuing up his elbows, like, wait, come across.
Tell, you're an absolute star, mate. Thanks for coming in.
Tel.
Great
Always
chat, mate.
Yeah, mate, it's been brilliant.
Yeah, you're a legend.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to speak to you loads over the next few months with Real Madrid
I
and
might
Spain
tell
and
you
everything.
some of those young players.
Yeah, you need to let us know. You've already told us a couple anyway. I'm going to phone Alex Crook after the show. Right, it's the final corner sports bar, but still to come. We're going to hear what Ali McCoy has made of the sports bar over the summer break.
It makes us laugh, as childish as it is. We do smile, and that makes me smile, and it makes you smile.
Yeah, and Ben Jacobs will be joining us for a weekly BJ. All of that, so much more. We need your help. Get involved. 03 717 22 3344. Yeah, you are listening to the record-breaking Sports Bar on talkSPORT. Myself, Jamie O'Hara, and Jason Cundy. Still to come. We need your calls for this week's midnight train. 03 717 22 3344. But now, time to talk transfers in association with talkSPORT Bet.
Bring it on with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com to see all our latest sign-up offers. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
It's time for our weekly BJ. Ben Jacobs joins us. Right, Ben?
Hi, Ben.
Good evening, gents.
How are you? You
disappointed to see that nickname has caught on.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Well, listen, we speak to you weekly.
It's true. It's accurate.
Look, Ben, I want to get straight into it because you are our Saudi correspondent, and Man City have crashed out in the Club World Cup against them. I watched them early on in the competition against Real Madrid. I thought they played brilliant, and they've actually turned out to be a really good side.
Yeah, Al Hilal, I suppose, are a collection of stars, so no surprise on their day that they can be a very competitive team. And in addition, you've got the Inzaghi factor, and he got his tactics spot on last night. I'm in Orlando at the moment, about to go to Philadelphia. Chelsea against Palmeiras. They've suddenly got a really, on paper, kind route potentially to the final. They will face the winner of that Hilal Fluminense game. And I think for Manchester City, we've seen two things so far. I've watched two of their games. The first is the new signings have made an impact. Renders looks like an absolute beast. Cherki is just one of those unique players. So going forward, City look very strong, and they tore Juventus apart. But at the other end, it's the same old story. They're so susceptible in transition, and Al Hilal made them pay. And you have to say that they were deserving winners in a bonkers game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's been the fallout in Saudi and across, certainly where you are?
Well, the president, Fahad bin Nafel, met all of the players. He immediately left Gianni Infantino, went down to the corner, celebrated with them. And then this morning, we learned the players were told they've got a 2 million reals bonus each, which works out to about £400,000. So that's not bad, is it? Just for beating Manchester City,
Amazing.
Bit of extra money in the pocket, quite a lot of extra money, and that's tax-free too. And now Hilal basically think that they can go all the way, because you would have to say on their day, maybe favourites against Fluminense. And then in addition to that, if they play Chelsea, you've already beaten Manchester City, and therefore they'll feel like potentially they can make a statement out here and maybe make some of those critics of the Saudi Pro League eat a bit of humble pie. And I think the knock-on effect also might be in the transfer market. A lot of these players that maybe said, no, we don't want to go to Saudi in a World Cup year. We don't want to go to Al Hilal when we've got other options. The likes of Bruno Fernandes, Victor Osimhen, Mo Salah, even N'Golo Kante didn't want to leave Saudi Arabia, one club, Al Ittihad, and move to another, Al Hilal. But maybe now some of the players that have either rejected Saudi or future targets will start to think this is what that project's capable of. And who knows, it might have a knock-on effect to the wider Saudi Pro League, where more players are prepared to join this summer.
Ben, you're out there, you're watching the Club World Cup. We're seeing it on TV, and the attendances have, let's just say, been not amazing. Is it starting to capture the audience a little bit now we're getting into the latter stages?
I think it could. Ultimately, FIFA are going to look at that first game nearly full, and the last three games, the two semis and the final, both in New Jersey, and probably point towards sellouts or very close. But in the middle, we've definitely seen some underwhelming attendances. Actually, Manchester City were well followed. Chelsea's games have had more disappointing attendances. And I think you have a situation where it's a long old tournament, it's expensive, it's hot. Many of the games are during the working week. And it's only really ironically now, as we head towards the business end of the tournament, that the prices have suddenly started to drop. So actually, if you want a ticket to Chelsea Palmeiras, you can get one for $35, which is what? About 28 quid. Wow. Earlier in the tournament, same teams, same kind of games, but less at stake, were maybe 3 times the prices. So I think FIFA have realised they've had to drop the ticketing prices. And now you get a scenario where if you're not in America, you're a Chelsea fan, Jason probably is a good example, you're thinking, I'm not going to go out and see Chelsea in a group stage game against LAFC and spend $5,000 for 2 weeks. But you might start thinking, you know what? Chelsea are going to make the semi-finals here. If they do them in one place, New York, ticket prices have dropped, I'll go out. So my expectation is more fans from Europe of Chelsea, of potentially Real Madrid or PSG. these kind of teams, the fan bases will fly out later in the tournament, and that should lead to a boost in numbers.
Listen, we know Real Madrid got through to the quarterfinals as well earlier, beating Juve. What have you made of Real Madrid? It's been a bit sticky from what I've seen. They've been pretty largely unconvincing, but as always, Real Madrid managed to get the job done.
Yeah, very unconvincing. I mean, Man City tore Juventus apart. Real laboured. Man City obviously did go out to Al Hilal. Real only got a draw against them. So in another group or on another day, Real could have also been an early tournament casualty. But I think they're going to get better as the tournament goes along. And now we have to wait and see in the 9 o'clock kickoff tonight who goes 3 out of Monterrey, the Mexican side. Yes. And Dortmund, because if it's Dortmund, then it's a Job versus Jude game, and that's a great story. And I think what will help Real as well is that quarter-final is also New Jersey. So they're in the side of the draw where they can relocate now to New York, New Jersey. All of their remaining games, if they go all the way, will be in MetLife Stadium. Far more stability than Chelsea, who banked on winning the group, didn't. Went to Miami because that was the best place if you won the group. Now, ironically, they're flying back to Philadelphia. That's a lot of travel. We've got storms at the moment in Philadelphia. I, for example, was meant to be on a flight at 10 a.m. this morning. It's 6:30 local time, and we're not taking off for another 3 hours. Wow. So Chelsea are going to have a more disrupted path to get back to Philly and eventually New York. Whereas Real are going to have a bit of stability now, and that's why I expect them to reach the final. And I think you'd have to say that on that side of the draw, the winner probably, if you're playing the odds, is going to come from so either PSG or likely Real Madrid. But if Chelsea get to the final, that'll be a fantastic achievement. And then obviously it's kind of a 50-50 game. So I still think we'll see an all-European final, but it wouldn't surprise me if Real just get better and better and better and actually go on to win this tournament.
Look, can I talk to you about a few transfers knocking around? Luis Diaz, he's been linked with Bayern Munich. Is this still something that's going to happen?
Yeah, the Bayern appreciation is genuine. They're obviously looking at a variety of left-sided players. They'd love Nico Williams as well, but Barcelona seems to be the player's preference there. I think the challenge and the paradox of Luis Diaz is if you're a European suitor, Liverpool are saying not for sale, and none of the European suitors, Bayern, Barca, are prepared to go anywhere close to Liverpool's asking price that may change their mind. So Liverpool just want to keep Luis Diaz. And then if you think about Al Nassr and Luis Diaz, they could probably put a number down that says to Liverpool, actually, that's too good to turn down. But does Diaz want to go to Saudi Arabia? And therein lies the paradox where Liverpool would welcome a Saudi bid in likelihood. Diaz may not want to go. Diaz loves the idea of going to Barca, but they're not going to be able to put an offer down that changes Liverpool's mind. So at the end of all of this speculation, there could be a scenario where Diaz just stays at Liverpool.
Ben, almost every single transfer news story I hear on talkSPORT, it feels as though every presenter, co-presenter, can ask this question. I'm sorry. Arsenal still looking for a striker? Any news? I mean, the Gooners must be absolutely bored with that same question as well. I know we'll ask it again probably next week, and H&J or Drive will do it tomorrow. What's the news, Sesko and Gyökeres?
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that we're at July the 1st, because I've been saying for a month, Arsenal's window is basically going to start July the 1st.
Excellent.
New financial year.
Excellent.
Berta's bedded in. And I think we're seeing that now with Eberici, Eze, which we broke on talkSPORT. And what's interesting is that Arsenal could sign 4. So here's the hope for Arsenal fans. An attacking midfielder, Eze, still a left winger, possibly a right winger. And the only thing that might stop them signing 4, because obviously a number 9 is going to come as well, so there's the 4th signing, is if maybe they do the unthinkable and persuade Rodrigo to join, because he's got that ability to go left in his preferred position or move over to the right-hand side if for any reason Saka needs covering. And that might stop them, for example, going with a left winger and Noni Madueke on the right, and the interest is genuine there, and still through the centre Eberici, Eze and a number 9. So this is why judging a window at the end is better than now, because Arsenal fans might be throwing their toys out the pram, but at the end of the window, they could have 4 new attackers and they'll almost certainly have 3. So there's substance to Eze. Coming back to the striker situation, we've heard some reports in the last 12 hours that Victor Gyökeres is advancing. That's not my understanding. Arsenal at the moment have not made any progress on the club-to-club side with Victor Gyökeres. Benjamin Sesko is still there. So it's a case of unfortunately sounding like a broken record. But what I can tell you is that both those players want to join Arsenal. This is not a scenario where fans will get flustered and then one of those two targets will run off to another club. If they agree a fee with either club, both of those players want to join. And right now, I think Andrea Berta is leveraging both transfers against each other, causing a bit of panic on the player sides because they think maybe they're going to go for the other one, and trying to drive the price down for either to a package of 70 million euros. And I feel like at the moment, whichever club out of Leipzig and Sporting says, fine, 70 million, you can have that player, that's the one that Berta will move for. But at the moment, we still don't have that clarity. And if they can't get either, keep an eye on the Ollie Watkins situation for Arsenal and possibly for Manchester United as well, because that's a...
Sorry, we lost you there. Ben, you're a star, mate. Appreciate your time. Top man.
Cheers, guys.
All right, that was Ben Jacobs there. That was a look at the latest transfers. Thanks to talkSPORT Bet. Terms, conditions apply. 18 plus with Gambler Dog.
Bring it on with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com to see all our latest sign-up offers. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Al Hilal's win over Man City at the Club World Cup has ushered in a new era of football. That's according to FIFA President Gianni Infantino, but Simon Jordan says it's no surprise to see him sucking up to the Saudis.
He knows that the Zone are a broadcaster that have been in part bought by Saudi. He knows that some of the money behind this tournament is Saudi money. So he's cozying up to the money in the same way he cozies up to Trump.
Well, despite being dumped out of the competition, Pep Guardiola seems upbeat about his side's performances in
listening to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT. Me, Jamie O'Hara, Jason Cundy. We've got a midnight train tonight, boys and girls. Come on, we need your help. 03717 223344. It's coming up in 20 minutes. So we need you to help us out on that one. But first, British and Irish Lions action continues to come thick and fast. They face the Queensland Reds in Brisbane exclusively on talkSPORT 2 tomorrow at 11 a.m.
The Lions are down under 12 years on from a famous victory. How will Andy Farrell's men fare in 2025? We are about to find out.
Brilliant ball back inside, and Dan Sheehan, the Lions captain, first try of the night.
We want to play a good brand of rugby. It's about building those connections between us.
Clark's got it back and he's barreling his way forward. Up and over the 22. Keeps going. 5 metres out. Can he get the offload away? Yes, he can.
It's a brilliant indication of just how good a talent Henry Pollock is.
Happy with how we actually got to that point because it wasn't all going our own way.
Of course, we're an athletic team and they challenged us accordingly.
Hicks Crutchfield, Lockie Anderson. He's got 4, baby.
4 world-class international teams. To beat them and to beat them at home, it'd be awesome for our fans.
The Lions will raise their bat on a 50 in Western Australia.
They're coming thick and fast. We've got the midweek game that keeps everyone on point and fighting for those test spots.
Yeah, we'll also be bringing you live commentary of all 3 test matches plus the warm-up games. And talkSPORT is the only place on national radio where you can follow all of the Lions' action. And now it's time for this. Yeah, it's the rest of talkSPORT where we run you through some of the recent highlight moments from across talkSPORT. Let's start with this morning's breakfast show. Jeff Stelling and Ali McCoy. Let's have a listen to the boys talk about something that makes everyone laugh.
Such a lads, boys thing that we laugh at wind, right? It doesn't matter what age you are, from a small child to adult men like ourselves, you can't beat a bump or a bum bump, right? It makes us laugh, as childish as it is, we do smile, and that makes me smile and it makes you smile, and it certainly made Brazil smile.
Yeah, it's pathetic but true, I'm afraid to say.
Can't beat it, mate. I don't care what anyone says. He's absolutely right. Okay, it's everyone does it, everyone, and everyone's ashamed to be heard doing it.
Yeah,
aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Why?
You're not.
I'm not.
No. You'll do it anywhere.
Yeah,
you do it in an airtight room. No problem.
Yeah.
Stinks.
I mean, to be fair, it's a bit rich coming from you. Every now and then you will lean back in an ad break, and then you'll do a face.
What's the face?
Like a baby having a you know what, right? And then I'll sit here and I go, Jay, come on, mate. You have a pop at me. Right, you're not.
Yeah, but you've got no etiquette at all.
No, I don't.
Like you sit there on the edge of the seat, you just have your dinner.
Yeah.
You know, and you got your flip flops on the table, not giving an absolute monkeys, and then you just.
But that's funny. It's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
And I'm
mate.
like, mate, come on.
No, but then 2 days later, you do the same. Like your poop doesn't stink. Like you hold yourself in such high regard. The truth is, mate, you ain't much difference to me.
No,
you're not.
No,
you're not. Everyone loves a fart. They do. I don't care what anyone says.
Does Hannah pass in front of you?
Yeah. Do you know what she did? Oh, this is terrible. I can't. Can I say this?
Yeah, go on, tell us.
Can I say this?
Yeah, go on. She won't mind.
All right, I'm going to say it. So, the other day, right, it was hot in bed, right?
Yeah.
And we're just lying there. We're just woken up.
Yeah.
Right?
From what?
She'd had a fan was on her side of the bed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And within seconds, I got this waft of just terribleness. And she said, oops. Oops. The fan wafted it over. But as quick as it arrived, it went because the fan blew it away.
Yeah.
But it was
potent.
It was potent, mate.
Yeah.
I got all the guts.
You got the lot.
Yeah.
All the guts.
You're a disgrace.
Poor Hannah. You can't say that on national radio, mate.
No, I love you, Hannah.
No, you can't. That's out
She
of
did,
order.
though. That's exactly what happened.
Poor.
Yeah, well, just don't do it then with the fans on. Got it right, my Murray.
Don't forget, Super Ali will be back on the breakfast show tomorrow morning. He'll be joined by Big Al.
Now, sticking with this morning's breakfast show, have a listen to the boys discussing the price of drinks at Wimbledon.
I'm not having it. I'm not having £9 for a pint anyway, carry on.
I think it's the same price in the hotel over the road, isn't it?
Well, I don't know, Brazil buys me.
Oh, does he? Okay. Well, it's not far off. You're not going to pay every big event. You've got to pay premium prices. You've got to understand that, haven't you?
No, I get that. I do get it. But it's when they actually give you a spanking at the same time. I don't mind paying a couple of quid, but it's when they give you a right spanking at the same time. That worries me a little bit.
Pints are expensive now, aren't they?
Pints are expensive, mate. But you do go, Steve. They try to pull your pants down. But the truth is, once you're inside their gates, you're at their mercy.
Yeah, I know.
There's nothing you can
What
do about it.
You don't want to drink?
There you go, right? And there you go. And they know exactly what they've got. They got you right with it.
I know, but you feel like we're just getting ripped off.
We are getting ripped off.
Like, everywhere. You know, like, it'd be nice to just go somewhere and you're in a nice establishment, you paid for a ticket, you're in there and you go, you know what? You know, we're going to charge you a normal price. I went to Augusta, right? Golf tournament. Right. You go in there, everything, cost price.
That's good.
Cost price.
Good, mate.
Like, you know, you're paying like $4 for a sandwich and, you know,
good.
Like, unbelievable. And you think...
When you get two, did you get 2 or 3?
Oh, I did. Don't worry about that. But I go Ibiza, right? You go into Ushuaia.
I know, mate.
Right?
Come on, you
can I have 4 pints? I need 4 pints. Yeah. Order 4 pints. 100 quid.
25 snots each.
25 euros each for a beer.
No,
like, come on, like that. And I'm like, is that a joke? For a beer? I'm not ordering a double vodka and Coke.
No, I know. Look, they're all at it, mate. Wherever you go, in particular, it's London, but any festival you go to, I see it on social media. Can you not take drinks at Glastonbury? I didn't know about this, right? I saw someone on social media.
I can't take drinks into a festival.
Right, people doing ingenious ways and putting them in around their person, in their bags, hiding it.
Yeah,
search your bag, can't find it.
Yeah, I know.
Get in there. Press a little button.
People have little things built in their bags and everything, don't they? In their purses.
Might have to do that at Wimbledon then. Hey, there must be bags that have an inbuilt little wall. Put your drinks in. Well, do you know how big's the bag going to be? I'm taking a rucksack in.
Yeah, no. A big bottle of vodka.
I'm stuck at a wall. There's nothing in it, sir. Do not forget the boys are back at 6 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, finally, it's one more from the breakfast show. Let's listen to the boys discuss Glastonbury Festival and hear what Jeff Stelling makes of pop superstar Charlie XCX.
That's enough. That's enough. We're giving her a chance, that's enough. Come on. What do you think the chances are that you'll be watching her on the Legends stage in, 30 years' time?
Well, due to the fact that I might not have a pulse, it'll probably be pretty low. But I don't think we'll be seeing Charlie in the Legends stage in 40 years' time. She might prove me wrong.
Got another festival, mate. Festivals, that's the new world
never
now.
Been to a festival.
What?
Wouldn't thank you if you bought me.
What?
You bought me Glastonbury tickets. Wouldn't thank you.
No, Glastonbury's like a city.
I wouldn't thank you, mate.
If you was going to do a festival, who would be your 3 headliners? Dead or alive?
Oh, George Michael.
Yeah.
Elvis.
Right.
It's a bad start, is it?
That's a good start.
It's a good start.
Yeah,
thought about it.
You're not struggling to sell tickets.
No. Imagine that.
It's selling out.
George and Elvis. Who can be the third?
Who else you got up there?
Who's the third that might go? Bring back Andrew Ridgeley. Just have Wham.
Who? Wham as well.
Bring Wham on, mate.
Yeah, that would be.
I'm being a bit selfish.
You are being
George.
selfish, mate.
I've got George.
That is top draw.
Yeah. Who else?
Mate, you got to go to a festival. Come on.
I just couldn't care.
Mate, my missus does all the festivals, right?
Do you know what, right?
I'm going to sort you out. I'll get you backstage.
Right, those type of festivals.
Get you up in the booth.
The Glastonbury, like, where there's like millions of people.
I'm doing a festival, you know.
Where's my ticket?
Well, I've got to organise it, but I'm doing a festival.
Right, let me know, because I know Kez does
all the recruitment,
right?
Yeah, she does all the stuff.
Right, do you know, I might nip along for one of those if it's.
What do you mean nip along?
If it's a bit of VIP.
We're going to nip along.
I need a bit of VIP.
Oh, we'll sort you out, mate.
Big VIP.
You get the captain's pass.
Go on in.
You can go anywhere you want.
Well, look, I'll try it. I might think.
We should go Glastonbury.
Not going Glastonbury.
Come on, mate. That'd be good.
Have you got to stay there a night? Oh, that's what she's.
You got camp for 4 days.
Okay, right. That now, right there.
You can. Well,
ain't happening.
Listen. You got a Soho house down the road, Badminton House. You can.
Right.
You know.
You've got to get in and out every day.
25 minutes.
Come on then, sort it out.
I'll sort it out. Come on, we'll get it. We'll get it sorted.
Sort it out then. Go on.
Text Noel, get some tickets.
Sort it out. They might be there next year. Oasis.
They might. Don't forget talkSPORT giving away 2 tickets to Oasis in Manchester. Head to talksport.com/win to find out how to enter. For all the best bits of talkSPORT every day, make sure to check out the talkSPORT Daily Podcast. And don't forget to download the talkSPORT app where you can swipe between talkSPORT, talkSPORT 2 and all of our other sister stations. You never miss a moment. Right, we're going to do back pages next, and Marcus Rashford is on them. So we're going to chat that next. So you're listening to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT with talkSPORT Bet. Download the new talkSPORT Bet app today. 18 plus. Begun Red Dog. Right, we're going to do a midnight train tonight. Get your calls in, 03 717 22 33 But now the Women's Euro starts tomorrow, and talkSPORT have you covered throughout the whole tournament.
And the European Championships get underway. Right-footed drive, hits the post, comes off the goalkeeper, and in. Spectacular hit from Diani.
Cuts back onto her right foot and finds the net. Vivian Miedema.
An opportunity around the goalkeeper, and it's in from Bob Marty.
Hooks up the cross, and the header is in from Harder.
Into the penalty area. Gonzalez with the shot, past the goalkeeper and in. A lovely move by Spain.
This ball has fallen for Hagerberg in the penalty area. Plays it square. Frida Marnham taps it in. 2 goals in quick succession for Norway.
And Eva Pyle there to gleefully tap home from inside the 6-yard box.
So Wales, for the first time in their history, have qualified for a major tournament.
Gritting Cannon from the angle with a shot, and it flashes into the back of the net.
Opportunity for Russo inside the penalty area. Finds the corner. Alessia Russo for England.
Yes, the Women's Euros kicks off tomorrow, and talkSPORT have you covered as our expert team, including Adrian Durham, Tash Dowie, Leanne Sanderson, be on the ground in Switzerland for the whole tournament, starting with live commentary of Switzerland versus Norway. Time now, though, for the back pages. Simon Johnson joins us. Right, Si?
Right, Si.
I'm good, guys. How are you?
All right, matey. Yeah, you're all right.
You're back again.
Back again. I didn't think we could afford you.
No, you can't. But, I'm like Marcus Rashford. A nice link there.
Yeah.
But Mozzie's got in my house. You know, this time of year, you leave your
leave the
windows
open, mate. You're asking for trouble.
And you just hear that.
I thought it was sounds like your voice.
Yeah, that's what I sound like every day of the week. But yeah, no. So I might be under attack live on air.
Right. Bayern are in for rash, apparently, on the back page of the Sun.
Yeah. Of course, there's been so much talk about where Marcus Rashford might end up this summer. He's not got any future at Manchester United. He's been holding out for Barcelona, but as the stories indicate, that Barcelona may have cooled their interest. Now, Bayern Munich, this is a sort of position that they're looking to strengthen. They've gone after a few players, including Jamie Gittins, who's on the verge of completing a move to Chelsea. And you can understand why Rashford would love a move to Bayern Munich. Of course, Harry Kane, the England captain, is leading the line there, and what a sort of combo that would make. Of course, the question mark is about Rashford's salary, but Bayern Munich are renowned good payers, so you can certainly see him fitting in there. So watch this space on that one.
Yeah, sticking with Man United, Simon offered 3 players for Jadon Sancho. That's the Mail Online. Vlahovic, Ver, and Douglas Luiz for the Man United winger Jadon Sancho. They don't often see these deals get done, do you?
No, and I hasten to add, you sort of read the story in detail. It's players that have come up in conversations while Sancho, in between the two clubs, while Sancho's being discussed, apparently. And so it's not a case of all 3 moving in the opposite direction of Jadon Sancho. It's Juventus sort of explaining, oh, do you fancy a bit of Douglas Luiz? Do you fancy... I mean, Vlahovic, they've been trying to sell for ages, it seems. He's often linked. And Timothy Weah, the right-back. But again, the report in the Mail sort of does, again, highlight the point. A big sticking point over Jadon Sancho moving in the opposite direction is his salary, which I think is a problem that Manchester United are facing in terms of getting Jadon Sancho off their books this summer.
Yeah, it's a massive problem that you're on that front. Killer. Because everyone now's, penny pinching and they can't afford them wages anymore.
Not only that, he's not the only one they're trying to shift. There's 3 or 4 on that. A loan deal feels the best and most obvious choice for those 2.
Yeah. Back page of the Sun again. Pep plots City cull after exit.
Yeah, not the biggest shot list. Can you remember a few months ago when he said, "I'll quit if we don't reduce the size of the squad"? Okay. Well, they've gone and signed 4 more players since then. So he took 27 players out to the Club World Cup, and he's sort of saying, "Oh, I've not been able to give some of the players minutes." And the reason what he said a couple of months ago was that he finds it really hard to leave players out. Well, the squad's even bigger. And this is a squad, by the way, that he took to America that didn't have Jack Grealish, Kyle Walker, Calvin Phillips in it. So that's 3 they're trying to get rid of. Yeah. Now, some of the names that are being discussed that could be added to those 3 that I think know that their futures lie elsewhere. You're looking at Gundogan, you're looking at even John Stones, who didn't play a single minute out in America, which is a bit of a sign, isn't it? Now he has had his fair share of injury problems, and he's spoken about his desire to stay, and so is Gundogan. But City clearly have to reduce the size of the squad. They're trying to build a new era. Some of the old guard are going, and it looks like they're going to have to get a few more out the door as well, because otherwise you can't have too many players. Otherwise, it becomes an unhappy camp.
Bit of embarrassing that for Manchester City, really, actually, isn't it? To go to Al Hilal.
Oh, it is. There's lots of that, mate, knocking about. Yeah. You'd have thought the money they spent, the stature of the football club, Al Hilal. I mean, the fact that Al Hilal are where they are now is pretty much a shock. But like you said, we've seen them. They ain't bad at all.
No, they're not bad. They're not bad. But, you look at Man City, Pep, going in, he's saying it's a new season. They wanted to win the tournament. And they get knocked out by Al Hilal.
They were the favourites. They were the favourites going into this round. Yeah, it's a bit of a slap in the face.
It is a slap in the face. So a bit of tennis. So what's Jack Draper? He's made it through.
Yeah, and he's did it in very comfortable style. Didn't even have to finish the match because his opponent Sebastian Baez had to withdraw in the 3rd set with a leg injury. But there was only one winner anyway. Jack Draper was 6-2, 6-2, 2-1 at the time, and playing very well. He was asked after his match had finished about about the pressure, because suddenly he's in a sort of the Andy Murray, sort of Tim Henman sort of the carrying the nation's hopes at Wimbledon. He's the world number 4, so there's genuine hope that he could perhaps go on to win it.
Yeah.
And he says, I don't think about it until people mention it every 5 minutes, which I thought was a nice way of batting back the question. But he says, look, I play every match like my life depends on it anyway. We should be really excited about this guy. He's in great form. Next round, he's got Marin Cilic, who's he's 36 now, but he certainly knows how to play at Wimbledon. He reached a final in the past, so shouldn't take it for granted. But the good news about the tennis, 7 men through for the first time at a Grand Slam since 1997, and 10 Brits in total, which is the joint highest this century. So it's a great start to Wimbledon for British tennis.
Yeah. No, lovely.
Up the jack.
Yeah. All right, Si, you're a star, mate.
Cheers, Si.
Pleasure, guys.
Cheers, bud.
All right, those are your back pages. Right, gang, we're going to do a midnight train. You need to help us out here. Call up, talk to us about anything besides sports, politics, anything too serious. Have a bit of fun. Come on, 03 717 22 33 44.